Students, in this part, we will discuss another important law of consumption, that is law of equimarginal utility. Law of equimarginal utility. In our previous discussion, we have already discussed regarding law of diminishing marginal utility, but today we will discuss regarding law of equimarginal utility. The law of equimarginal utility is another fundamental principle of economics in consumption chapter. This law is also known as the law of substitution or the law of maximum satisfaction. This law is also known as law of consumer's equilibrium. So we can say law of equimarginal utility, law of substitution, law of maximum satisfaction, or law of consumer's equilibrium. And this is the most important law of consumption chapter. This law explains the consumer's behavior in making his purchases, how to purchase goods, by which principle we must purchase goods, so that within our limited money income we can get maximum satisfaction. How we should distribute our limited income in between various goods so that we can get maximum satisfaction, that we can study with the law of equimarginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility says how a consumer can get maximum satisfaction when he consumes only one commodity. In our law of diminishing marginal utility, students, we have already read that when a consumer goes on consuming various units of a particular commodity, how he can get maximum satisfaction, and we all know that he can get maximum satisfaction at that point when his marginal utility becomes zero. When marginal utility becomes zero, total utility will be maximum. But practically, a person's want is not limited to a single commodity only. So in law of diminishing marginal utility, we have discussed regarding the consumer's equilibrium, where only one good is consumed by him. But we all know that human wants are unlimited. He cannot get full satisfaction only by consuming a particular good. He has to consume various goods, but in which manner he should consume various goods and how to spend his limited money income among these goods so that he can satisfy and get maximum satisfaction, that we will read in this law. So a consumer has to satisfy many wants. How he has to spend his limited money income among different commodities so as to get maximum satisfaction can be known from the law of equimarginal utility. We know that human wants are unlimited, whereas the means to satisfy these wants are limited. For this, it is necessary for every consumer to pick up the most urgent wants that can be satisfied with the money that he has. So, we have already discussed that human wants are unlimited, and another point is that though wants are unlimited, but they are also competitive. Wants are competitive. Unlimited wants are there. There is no limit to human want, but they are competitive. Some wants are most urgent, or some wants are very urgent, whereas some wants are less urgent. So, as a rational consumer, we must satisfy at first the most urgent wants, or you can say the very urgent wants, to get maximum satisfaction. But there are many urgent wants are there. How to distribute your income? How a consumer can distribute his limited money income, the money income in his pocket at his disposal, so that he can get maximum satisfaction? That we will know in this law. Of the things that he decides to buy, he must buy just the right quantity. When a consumer decides to buy a good or buy various goods, he must think or take the decision what quantity he must buy. Every rational consumer will try to make the best use of money at his disposal and derive the maximum satisfaction. So it is the duty of the rational consumer that his behavior should be, in case of where he has to purchase some goods or consume some goods, his behavior must be just in order to get maximum satisfaction out of the limited money or the money at his disposal. In order to get maximum satisfaction out of the funds he has to carefully weigh the satisfaction obtained from each rupee that he spends. If the consumer finds that a rupee spent in one direction has greater utility than in another, he will go on spending money on the former commodity till the satisfaction derived from the last rupee spent in two cases are equal. Mark here, suppose there are two commodities, or you can say suppose there are two goods. You are getting more satisfaction from one commodity and less satisfaction from another commodity. It is the nature of every human being that he cannot get the same amount of satisfaction from any two commodities. So when he consumes, or a consumer goes on consuming consuming two commodities, for example, only two commodities, at that time what he should do? He should spend more money on the good from which he gets more satisfaction, and less money on the good from which he gets less satisfaction. So he has to substitute the good of less satisfaction for the good of, or you can say that he has to substitute the commodity of more satisfaction for the commodity of less satisfaction. So anyhow, in order to get maximum satisfaction, he has to sacrifice the commodity, that unit of the commodity which gives him less satisfaction. So he has to continue this process of substitution, substituting one good for another, till the last rupee spent in both the goods become equal, so that he can get maximum satisfaction. In other words, we substitute some units of the commodity of greater utility for some units of commodity of less utility. The result of this substitution will be that the marginal utility of the former will fall and that of the latter will rise, till the two marginal utilities are equalized. That is why the law is also called as law of substitution or the law of equimarginal utility. You see here, it is mentioned that we substitute some units of the commodity of greater utility for some units of the commodity of less utility. That means instead of less commodities of less utility, we should consume the commodity of greater utility. When we consume the commodity of greater utility, or we spend more money for the commodity of greater utility, naturally its marginal utility will decline, and the commodity for which we spend less money, its marginal utility will increase. And a time will come when the marginal utility in both the cases become equal. So, by equalizing the marginal utilities of both the commodities, we can get maximum satisfaction. Okay? And for this law is also known as law of substitution or law of equimarginal utility. Why it is known as law of equimarginal utility? Because the marginal utility of the last rupee spent on each commodity becomes equal. The marginal utility of the money spent on last commodity becomes equal. And that is why it is known as law of equimarginal utility. Why it is known as law of substitution? Because we substitute the commodity of greater utility for the commodities of less utility. Okay. And by accepting this method, we can get maximum satisfaction. According to Marshall, if a person has a thing which can be put to several uses, he will distribute it among these uses in such a way that it has the same marginal utility in all. This is the definition given by Alfred Marshall. If a person has a thing means take your money, which can be put to several uses. Money has several uses. We can use it for purchasing of commodity X, or we can use it for purchasing of commodity Y, or we can use it for purchasing of commodity Z. But see here, if a person has a thing which can be put to several uses, you will distribute it. You will distribute this money, this fixed money, between these uses in such a way that it has the same marginal utility in all. From this definition, it is clear that the consumer gets maximum satisfaction only when the marginal utilities of different commodities are equal. So this is the definition given by Dr. Alfred Marshall. If a person has a thing, if you have money, and money can be used in different ways, but you should use it in different ways in such a way that you will get the same marginal utility from all the uses, right? When you get the same amount of marginal utility from all the uses, definitely that will give you the maximum satisfaction, right? So from this definition, it is clear that the consumer gets maximum satisfaction only when the marginal utilities of different commodities are equal. In other words, the consumer has to allocate his money income. Mark this. The consumer has to allocate his money income. Your money income is limited, but you have to, as a rational consumer, you must decide how to allocate this money income, and you have to allocate this money income in such a way that the marginal utility of last rupee, of the last unit of money spent on his commodity, becomes equal. So you should allocate this money income. A consumer should allocate his limited money income in different ways, so that he will get same amount of marginal utility from the last unit of money spent on his commodity, right? So that is the definition of the law of equimarginal utility given by Alfred Marshall. Now we will come to the assumptions of the law. The law of equimarginal utility is based on some assumptions. They are: number one, the consumer must be a rational one. He must be a rational one. He must be stable in mind. He must have a constant mind. His mentality should not be changed. Okay. Number two, the taste and preference of the consumer must remain constant. The taste and preference of the consumer must remain constant, otherwise the law will not hold good. Number three, his money income should be limited. If there is a change in money income, then this law may not operate. If you are ready to spend more and more money for purchasing different commodities, then this law may not operate. Number four, there should not be any change in price. And number five, price must remain constant. Number four, and the marginal utility of money should remain constant. These are the five assumptions taken in this law. Now we will come to explanation of the law. Suppose a consumer has 7 rupees in his pocket. Suppose a consumer has rupees 7 in his pocket and he wants to consume two commodities, say commodity X and commodity Y. Suppose a consumer has 7 rupees at his disposal. In his pocket means at his disposal. And this 7 rupees to be spent on two commodities, commodity X and commodity Y. And the price of both commodity X and commodity Y is 1 rupee per unit. Each unit of X costs rupee 1 rupee, and each unit of Y costs rupee 1. So the price of each unit or per unit of the commodity X and Y is rupee 1 rupee. How he spends his 7 rupees on both the goods to get maximum satisfaction, and how much of his commodity he has to purchase in order to get maximum satisfaction is illustrated with the help of an imaginary table below. You see, you have already assumed, we have already taken an imaginary example that a consumer is there and he has 7 rupees in his pocket or at his disposal. He has to spend this 7 rupees on commodity X and commodity Y, and the cost of each unit of commodity X is 1 rupee and each unit of commodity Y is 1 rupee. If he wants to spend all his 7 rupees in commodity X, then he can purchase 7 units of X. If he spends all his 7 rupees on Y, he can purchase 7 units of Y. But as a rational consumer, he knows that as the law of diminishing marginal utility operates, nobody wants to spend a fixed amount of money on the successive units of for consuming the successive units of commodity. Rather than they want to allocate this fixed money on more than one goods, so that they can get more satisfaction than spending on a particular good. So now we will take an imaginary table to explain the law. You see, tabular representation of marginal utility of X and Y. Units of money, you see, we have already taken in the definition, as the definition given, if a person has a thing and that thing or that commodity is taken here as money, and there are 7 units of money. So units of money or units of commodity, and there are 7 units of money. It is mentioned in column 1 of the table. In column 2 it is given marginal utility of commodity X, and in column 3 it is given the marginal utility of commodity Y. Right. So there are 3 columns. First column mentions units of money, second column marginal utility of commodity X, and third column marginal utility of commodity Y. Now when he spends all his 7 units of money, how he gets the marginal utility from commodity X, and what is the marginal utility of commodity Y, that is mentioned here. When he spends first unit of money on commodity X, he gets 16 utils of utility. When he spends second unit of money on commodity X, he gets 14 utils of utility. When he spends third unit of money on commodity X, he gets 12 utils of utility. When he spends fourth unit of money on commodity X, he gets 10 utils of utility. Similarly, when he spends the first unit of money on commodity Y, he gets 14 utils of utility. When he spends the second unit of money on commodity Y, he gets 12 utils of utility. And like this, he has to spend all his money, all his 7 units of money. But how he should spend his money income, these 7 units of money or these 7 rupees on both the commodity on X and Y, so that he can get maximum satisfaction, that is known in law of equimarginal utility. By following the law of equimarginal utility, he or she should go on consuming the commodity of higher utility instead of the commodity of lower utility, and he has to adjust, he has to consume a combination of both the goods in such a way that the last rupee spent on each commodity should give him equimarginal utility or equal amount of marginal utility. Now we will elaborate it. In the above table, it is seen that with an increase in the purchase of commodity X and commodity Y, their marginal utility decline. Right? We see here, as per the law of diminishing marginal utility, when we go on consuming more and more units of a particular commodity, its marginal utility will go on declining. Right? Out of rupees 7, if the consumer spends rupees 3 on commodity X and rupees 4 on commodity Y, you see, out of 7 rupees at his pocket or at his disposal, if the consumer spends rupees 3 on commodity X, what is the marginal utility of the third unit of X? 12 units, 12 utils of utility gets by spending 3 rupees on commodity X, or 3 units of money on commodity X. And what is the marginal utility of spending 4 rupees on commodity Y? It is 8 utils of utility gets by spending 4 rupees on commodity Y, and 12 utils of utility he get by spending 3 units of commodity X. So if he will spend rupees 3 on X and rupees 4 on Y, or he will take the combination 3x plus 4y, then what will be his satisfaction? You see here, so on X and 8 utils of utility, the last unit of money, it is written here in the above table, it is seen that with an increase in the purchase of commodity X and commodity Y, their marginal utility decline. Out of rupees 7, if the consumer spends rupees 3 on commodity X and rupees 4 on commodity Y, he gets 12 utils of utility from the last unit of money on X and 8 utils of utility from the last unit of money spent on Y. And the total utility he gets from the combination of 3x plus 4y is equal to 16. First mark the 3 units spent on X, 16 plus 14 plus 12. Then 4 units on Y, 14 plus 12 plus 10 plus 8. It comes 86 utils in total. Right. But if the consumer substitute one more unit of X for one unit of Y, instead of taking one more unit of Y, if he takes one more unit of X and one less unit of, he consumes one less unit of Y, that means 4x plus 3y. If he will take 4x plus 3y, if he consumes 4x plus 3y, then what happens? You see here. But if the consumer distributes one more unit of X for one more unit of Y, his gain in utility is more than that of loss of utility. Naturally, from fourth unit of X, he gets 10 utils of utility. And from third unit, but by taking third unit of Y, he gets same 10 utils of utility. The marginal utility in both the cases become equal. He spends here also rupees 7, 4 plus 3, 4x plus 3. When he was taking the fourth unit of commodity Y, he was getting only 8 utils of utility. But if he substitute commodity X, one more unit of X, then, or by taking the fourth unit of X, he gets 10 utils of utility. So, more utility he gets by substituting the commodity of higher utility for the commodity of lower utility. So in this case, when he takes or consumes the fourth unit of commodity, instead of 3 units of commodity X and 3 units of commodity Y, instead of 4 units of commodity Y, he gets maximum satisfaction. You see here? Okay. But if the consumer substitutes one more unit of X for one unit of Y, his gain in utility is more than that of loss of utility. If he spends 4 rupees on commodity X and 3 rupees on commodity Y, the last rupee spent on each commodity gives him same amount of marginal utility, that is 10 utils. So total utility the consumer derives from the consumption of this combination, that is 4x plus 3y. This is the combination taken by the consumer, consumed by the consumer. And the total utility here becomes 16 plus 14 plus 12 plus 10, right? Plus 14 plus 12 plus 10. You see, from the 4 units of X, he gets 16 plus 14 plus 12 plus 10. From the 3 units of Y, he gets 14 plus 12 plus 10. It comes to 88 utils. So total utility becomes 88 utils. But when the consumer took the combination 3x plus 4y, the total utility was only 86 utils, right? So now it comes to 88 utils. It is more than that. Any other combination of commodity X and commodity Y will not give him such amount of total utility or satisfaction, right? So by following the law of equimarginal utility, if the consumer or when the consumer goes on consuming a combination of commodities where the last unit of money on each commodity gives him the same amount of marginal utility, that is the position, that is the situation where he will get maximum total satisfaction. By substituting the commodity of higher utility for the commodity of lower utility, the consumer gets maximum satisfaction, and the consumer gets maximum satisfaction only at that point when the marginal utility of money spent on all the commodities become equal, right? Here the marginal utility of money spent on commodity X and commodity Y becomes equal. The last rupee of or last unit of money spent on commodity X gives him 10 utils of utility, and the last unit of money spent on commodity Y also gives him 10 utils of utility. So marginal utility in both the cases become equal, and he gets maximum total satisfaction. Thus, we obtain maximum satisfaction when we equalize the marginal utilities by substituting some units of higher utility for some units of lower utility. It is already we have discussed it. In the above example, the prices of both the commodities are same. In the above example, we have taken that the price of commodity X is 1 rupee per unit and the price of commodity Y is 1 rupee per unit. But sometimes there may be a difference in the prices of two commodities. Right, but if prices of different commodities are different, then we can get the marginal utility of money spent on different commodities by dividing the marginal utility of the commodity with its price. So what is the condition to get maximum satisfaction? If there is a difference in price of the different commodities, the condition of equilibrium is MUX upon PX is equal to MUY upon PY, that is MUM. Means marginal utility of X upon price of X is equal to marginal utility of Y upon price of Y is equal to marginal utility of money. Right. So the law can be explained with the help of following diagram. So it is the equilibrium condition. Remember it. MUX upon PX is equal to MUY upon PY is equal to MUM, marginal utility of money. Marginal utility of money means what? Per rupee spent on each commodity. Marginal utility per rupee marginal utility. Marginal utility means per rupee marginal utility. If you get 10 utils of utility by spending 5 rupees, if the cost of a commodity is 5 rupees and you get 10 utils from that, so what is the marginal utility? 10 by 5, that is 2 utils. So there is a difference in between the prices of different commodities. This situation must be satisfied. This condition must be satisfied in order to get maximum satisfaction, that is MUX upon PX is equal to MUY upon PY, that is MUM. Right. And in this situation only, or this situation can be satisfied only when the last rupee spent on each commodity gives same marginal utility. So now this law can be explained with the help of the following diagram. You see in the diagram, there are two diagrams, one representing commodity X and the other representing commodity Y. OX axis, in OX axis we are taking units of money, and in OY axis we are taking marginal utility. Okay. Now MUX represents marginal utility of commodity X. This line, this curve, which is known, we can say that a G curve, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. By joining these points, a G curve we get, and that is the marginal utility curve of commodity X. And this HN, HIJKLMN, by combining these points, we get a line, straight line, that is the marginal utility curve of commodity Y. And you see in this diagram, the line, straight line UV represents that the marginal utility in both the cases become equal. In case of commodity X, in case of commodity Y, their marginal utility is equal. And here 4 units of commodity X are taken. By taking 4 units of commodity X, the consumer gets 10 utils of utility, and by taking 3 units of commodity Y, he gets 10 utils of utility. So this is shown by the line UB. UB shows that marginal utility becomes equal in each case, in both the cases, right? Now you see from here, students, instead of consuming one, he consumes 4 units of commodity X and 3 units of commodity Y. He gets 10 utils of utility from each commodity. It means the last rupee spent on each commodity gives him 10 utils of utility. From the 4th unit of money spent on commodity X, the consumer gets 10 utils of utility, and from the third unit of money spent on commodity Y, the consumer gets 10 utils of utility, and this is the situation, or this is the condition where the consumer gets maximum satisfaction, or he is in equilibrium point. But by not following, it is true if he follows the law of equimarginal utility, but if he does not follow the law of equimarginal utility, and when he spends 3 units of money on commodity X and 4 units of money on commodity Y, mark here in these two diagrams, when he spends 3 units of money on commodity X, instead of spending 4 units of money on commodity X, when he spends only 3 units of money on commodity X, he loses CDQP. Mark here, CDQP area. CDQP is the utility which he has to lose, right? And he will get instead JKSR from commodity Y. After taking one more unit of commodity Y, he gets only JKSR amount of utility. But after losing one commodity of X, he loses CDQP amount of utility, and here CDQP is more than JKSR. It means loss of utility is more than gain in utility. It is a fact only when he disobeys the law of equimarginal utility. He does not follow the law of equimarginal utility, then only he has to sacrifice some more satisfaction. His loss of utility will be more than gain in utility, and no rational consumer will go in this way. Just we will discuss, we will elaborate it, this diagram, we will elaborate. This diagram is drawn on the basis of the table, imaginary table we have already taken. Now we will come to elaborate or explain the diagram. In both the figures, there are two figures, commodity 1 representing commodity X and the other commodity Y. In both the figures given above, OX and OY are the two axes. On OX axis, the units of money, and on OY axis, the marginal utilities are represented. We have already taken. There are two figures, one representing commodity X and the other representing commodity Y. In both the figures, so in OX axis we represent units of money, and in Y axis we represent marginal utility. Suppose a person has 7 rupees to spend on X and Y. Their diminishing marginal utilities are shown by the two curves AG and HN respectively. What AG represents? AG represents, which is the marginal utility curve of X, commodity X. This curve represents, the marginal utility curve of commodity X represents that when he spends more and more money on commodity X, he gets less and less amount of marginal utility. Or when he consumes more and more units of the commodity X, he gets less and less satisfaction, which are successively shown in point A, B, C, D, E, F, G in the first diagram. Similarly, in case of commodity Y also, HN curve or HN line shows that with every increase in the expenditure or with every increase in consumption of commodity Y, its marginal utility also goes on declining. It is shown by the points H, I, J, K, L, M, N, right? Now, the consumer will gain maximum satisfaction if he spends 4 units of money, that is 4 rupees on commodity X and 3 units of money on commodity Y. We have already discussed it. Because in this situation, the marginal utilities of the two are equal. When the consumer spends 4 units of money, how much marginal utility gets? 4 units on commodity X, DQ, right? So DQ, 10 utils of utility gets. When he spends 3 units of money on commodity Y, he gets JR. It also gives him 10 utils of marginal utility. So marginal utility in both the cases become equal. Right. Any other combination will give less total satisfaction. The line UV represents that the consumer gets 10 utils of marginal utility from both X and Y by spending the last unit of money on his. It is the line, you see UV, the straight line which intersects both the diagrams, both the marginal utility curves, and this UV line shows that the consumer gets equal amount of marginal utility, that is 10 utils of utility in both the cases by spending the last unit of money in both the cases. Right. Let the consumer spends 1 unit of money less on commodity X and 1 unit of money more on commodity Y. That means he has got maximum satisfaction by applying the law of equimarginal utility or by consuming 4x plus 3y. The combination 4x plus 3y, that means 4 units of x and 3 units of y. But if he spends or consumes only 3 units of x and 4 units of y, what will happen? As a result, loss of utility is represented by the shaded area CDQP. I have told you, CDQP. This is loss of utility. If he spends only 3 units of money on commodity X, he has to lose this much of utility, that is CDQP. But if he spends 4 units of money on commodity Y, 1 more unit on commodity Y, he will gain only JKSR amount of utility. And here you see the gain in utility, that is JKRS, is less than the loss of utility, that is CDQP. So nobody will go for gaining less and sacrificing more utility. Right. Here loss of utility is more than gain in utility. Hence the total utility of this new combination is less. Definitely. We have already discussed that the total utility from this combination is only 86 utils. Whereas by following the law of equimarginal utility, he got 88 utils of utility. So no consumer will go for such a combination as the total utility derived in this case is less than total utility derived by following the law of equimarginal utility, right? As a rational consumer, we should not go for this combination or we should not go for that combination, we can say, from which we will get less satisfaction. And by following the law of equimarginal utility, we should get maximum satisfaction. Now we will come to the exceptions of the law. What are the exceptions in which case the law will not hold good? We will discuss now. Number 1, ignorance. If the consumer is ignorant or blindly follow custom or fashion, he will make a wrong use of money. On account of ignorance, he may not know where the utility is greater and where less. Thus, ignorance may prevent him from making a rational use of money. Hence, his satisfaction may not be the maximum because the marginal utilities from his expenditure cannot be equalized due to ignorance. So, it is the first exception. If anybody is ignorant regarding the behavior that will give him maximum satisfaction, or anybody blindly follows social custom or fashion, then this law will not operate in that case. Number 2, indivisible goods. The law of equimarginal utility is very difficult to apply in case of indivisible goods. Indivisible goods like motorcycle, motor car, building, television, washing machine, etc. As these goods are not available in small fractional unit, it is very difficult to compare their marginal utilities with other goods. So in case of indivisible goods also, the law will not operate because they are such big goods. We cannot make them into small fraction and we cannot measure or compare the utility of these goods with other small goods. Number 3, free goods. The law is not applicable in case of free goods. We do not have to pay a price for free goods. Hence, there is no need to substitute one good for another as we are not paying any price for them, the free goods. air, water, sun, sunlight. Hence, we need not to substitute one good for the other. The question of comparing the marginal utility of last unit of money spent on different free goods does not arise. This was the third exception. Number 1, ignorance. Number 2, individual goods. Number 3, free goods. And number 4, if there is frequent changes in price, if the price of commodities change frequently, then also this law will not operate. Frequent changes in prices of different goods render the observance of the law very difficult. The consumer may not be able to make the necessary adjustments in his expenditure in a constantly changing price situation. Right? So, when the prices of the goods change frequently, it is very difficult to operate, to follow the law of equimarginal utility. And the last one is number 5, measurability of utility. The law assumes measurability of utility, but utility being a subjective concept, being a psychological concept, being a state of mind, it cannot be quantitatively measured as per the critics. So these are the exceptions. In spite of the above exceptions, the law of equimarginal utility has great theoretical and practical significance. So this is all about the law of equimarginal utility. So remember, in our law of diminishing marginal utility, we studied only where and when and how to get maximum satisfaction. How to get maximum satisfaction mainly when we consume only a single commodity. Here also you have to mark some things, students, that when we get a good freely, we have not to make any payment. In that case, we can get maximum satisfaction only when its price will be equal, its marginal utility becomes 0. When we have not to make any payment for a good, we will go on consuming one after another commodity till its marginal utility becomes 0, and at that point only we can get maximum satisfaction. But in case of single good also, if we have to make a payment, if we have to pay a price, then the equilibrium condition is that where the marginal utility of the commodity will be equal to the price. MUX is equal to PX. In case of single commodity also, when we have to make any payment for that commodity, then the equilibrium condition, we can get maximum satisfaction only when the marginal utility of commodity X will be equal to the price of X. After that, we should not go for consumption. If the marginal utility of a commodity is more than price, better, you have to consume up to the point where marginal utility will be equal to price. Right? But in case of two goods or more than two goods, we have to follow the law of equimarginal utility in order to get maximum satisfaction. What is the law of equimarginal utility? What it says? It says that you should spend your last rupee on each commodity in such a way that from the last rupee spent on each commodity, you should get equal amount of marginal utility, and that is the point only where you can get maximum satisfaction. So that is all about the law of equimarginal utility. Okay, in our next class we will discuss regarding consumers equilibrium. Till then, goodbye.